Hello, my name is Manuel. I'll be refuting my opponent's claim that the federal ban on recreational marijuana should be repealed. First off, their first claim is that too much money and effort will be spent on enforcing the ban. Just how many of these arrests, yeah, of course they were for simple possession, but there's always more to a story. Should we automatically assume that just because they smoke marijuana, they're good guys? Obviously, we shouldn't assume that they're bad guys, but usually when there's always a bigger story when they come to marijuana possession, especially in the States. I know this is kind of plain and simple and kind of out there, but one simple way that both sides would win would be that people just simply don't smoke marijuana at all. But the government will save money, and the marijuana smoker will also be saved from jail, but also be a lot healthier. Now, to respond to their second claim that current enforcement is ineffective and unnecessary, he states that many people today advocate it, and to that I say, just because many people advocate it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing to do. I mean, back in 2001, I'm pretty sure a lot of people advocated going into Afghanistan, but now look at today, most of us saw how, not necessarily how bad of an idea it was, but just how many of us wanted our soldiers to come back. Now, marijuana is considered a gateway drug, which means that it could cause those already who smoke marijuana to later begin taking other much more dangerous substances such as cocaine or heroin. So there's some short-term side effects of marijuana. Those include the sensory distortion, panic, anxiety, poor coordination of movement, lowered reaction time. After the initial high, the user usually feels sleepy or depressed, and an increased heartbeat and risk of heart attack. Some long-term effects would consist of reduced resistance to common illnesses such as colds, bronchitis, suppression of the immune system because THC actually destroys some of the cells that prevent us from getting diseases, growth disorders, an increase of abnormally structured cells in the body, as well as some abnormalities in the brain, reduction of male sex hormones and sexual capacity in both females and males. They cause rapid destruction of lung fibers and lesions. It causes students, as well as anybody, to have study difficulties and reduced ability to learn and retain information. It causes apathy, drowsiness, and lack of motivation, personality and mood changes, and the inability to understand things clearly. Now, also, marijuana is a big part of the black market, and a large portion of that comes from crime syndicates such as drug cartels in Mexico. Now, let's say, hypothetical situation, let's say marijuana did become legal in the United States. Who's to say that one of these drug cartels could buy a farm in the United States under a certain name, so they wouldn't be convicted, of course, and be growing their own marijuana? And from many stories that are obviously too much to count, when people just do not mess with these drug cartels. And obviously with the amount of money they have, they would definitely monopolize the entire marijuana industry. And obviously wherever the farm is, there would be big problems for the locals of wherever that farm would be. To the sponsors, to their last claim, the repeal would save and generate money. They state that we can tax and marijuana. Now that means marijuana can still illegally be sold, and if it's illegally sold, then no tax can be collected. The larger sale of marijuana could also later lead to further crime instead of minimizing it. Drug dealers these days, which not only sell marijuana, other drugs as well, but most of them do sell marijuana. They're already pretty good experts at avoiding the police. Hence, even if marijuana were to become legal and we would be taxing it, they would most likely still be in business. Especially since they regulate their prices, they would most likely be cheaper than whatever is being sold in retail. Now, these days, alcohol is not legal, yet many assaults and car accidents contribute to these type of crimes. Who's to say if once marijuana becomes legal, that many of these kind of crimes will also be a lot more contributed by marijuana, since it'll be a lot more easier for it to come in possession. The same goes for minors. A large population of these minors these days drink alcohol, so making marijuana legal would just make it easier for minors to obtain the substance. A study of 129 college students found that among those who smoked marijuana at least 27 of the 30 days before being surveyed, critical skills related to attention, memory, and learning were seriously diminished. Students who use marijuana have lower grades and are less likely to get into college than non-smokers. Now, some statistics are that of the 7.3% of persons aged 12 and older classified with illicit drug dependence or abuse in 2012, 4.3 of those million persons have marijuana dependence or abuse. Now, one study found that youth who 12 to 17 years old who use marijuana are 85 times more likely to use cocaine than kids who do not use pot, and that 60% of those kids who smoke pot before the age of 15 move on to cocaine. And one recent study in Northwestern University found that marijuana users have abnormal brain structure and poor memory, and that chronic marijuana abuse may lead to brain changes resembling schizophrenia. The study also reported that the younger the person starts using marijuana, the worse the effects become.